Hello, monkey! Today, we continue with abilities. Last time I was rather slow, but we did the necessary ability data. But now the ability itself needs to be called by the controller. Or more like, we need some kind of logic flow that the abilities get called in this shape. They fell. Alright, my tea needs to cool down a bit. While Monkey has to think about how to pre-calculate abilities. First, we need the ability itself. And it needs to be spawned. Oh, I didn't change the... struct yet. Okay, so we have ability classes. I guess the ability itself needs a pointer to the ability info, so I don't need to have double the amount of things to carry around. Interesting how I have a none in here, like this value type, and it just converts it to integer here. Which means I can kick this part probably, but let's keep it in for now. Ability instance. Let's say class. Now the presets need to be compiled too. Okay. So from here, this one will go away at some point. But now we have the ability classes, which means we need to find the ability that we need to spawn by slot. Where do we get it? We are right now in Battle Controller, and it is in the competitor. Get front ID. And we can do this. Ow. Okay, hold on. Before I continue, I have to go AFK real quick. Be right back. Okay, monkey's back. Whew. Is my tea cool enough? Hey, Carva. You know, you need to add minigame into your game. Something like where you control ball by rotating platforms. No! I will add a fishing game though. There can't be a RPG game without a fishing game. Yeah! Fishing game! I like fishing games! How dare you don't like fishing games? Go play an RPG and enjoy fishing! Right now! Final Fantasy 15, actually no. I really did not enjoy that one. I like Final Fantasy 10. That one is pretty neat. Final Fantasy 10-2 even. That one is my favorite. You think I don't like Final Fantasy 15 because of fishing? I like Nier Automata. That has fishing in it. After never playing it, cause it crashed. Well, did you play it then? Because you just said that you started, but... Is there an indent somewhere on your ceramic sphere? Or is it just round and nothing else? Indent. I wouldn't call it an indent. No, it's not an indent. Like, it's not... There is no indent there, no. A hole, yes. Ha, I see, it crashed, okay. So it's a donut, no. Ah, okay. Defining a hole, topologically, it's not a hole. I'm talking about the normal speech kind of hole, where you would call something where you can put a screw on also a hole, where it doesn't need to go through. What would you call that? But is it the kind of hole I meant? Just going inside, but not through? Yes. Ceramic weight? No. Screw hole? I'm not sure if it's a screw hole. I'm not an expert. It has no... What is it called? No... What are the wings called of a screw? It doesn't have that. The thing is, I feel like I had a ceramic ball with hole in my house, but I don't know where it is, and I don't know what it was from. Oh, you had one? That would be so funny. Thread? No, it has no threads. Exactly. Should like this. Now, can I get the info out of there, though? Oh, I can. Perfect. Is it white? How precise do you want me to be? Carpet ball? No. What is a carpet ball? If I don't need to be precise, it is white. Also, it's either milky white, creamy white, onyx white, or something like that. I guess. I'll see if I can find the ceramic ball with the hole, but if I don't find it in the next 5 minutes, I'll just come back without it. Okay. What if you don't come back in 5 minutes? Did then something happen to you? He died. He got kidnapped. Monkey Parole. Oh no, he almost got the truth about the monkey points. Eliminate him! Be right back. Have fun. problem is we are spawning an actor and then we have to check if it's applicable. So I guess if it's not applicable, I also need to destroy it again. Immediately. I also need to put these into some kind of array. How do I fire these? Now, where would I do the function to get a target? Maybe it is also important that the Orblings know who their parents are. So, okay, an Orpling knows its competitor, but how would he know the opponent competitor? Do I need to pipe that in there too? I mean, even if I wanted to, I cannot just do that, since we are initializing one competitor after the other, so the other competitor isn't actually there yet. I would need to change that. No luck. From what I remember about it, it could be anywhere across 15 rooms. If I just remembered where I had it in hand and fidgeted around with it, but I don't. I mean, even if you find it, I don't think you will understand what it is. I mean, if you can imagine that you had it, then you can already guess what it is, or you can't. You don't need it physically in your hand to be able to. What if the thing you have in your home is not the same thing as what I have here? If it's the same thing, then I might have some guesses about your life. I have no guesses about either of our lives. Well, you can guess that I'm a monkey, and you would be right. You know, most people just say, "Hey, that's a monkey," and then they go, I'm not an ape. People don't know what the difference between an ape and monkey is. Yes, perfect monkey. An ape is something different than a monkey. A monkey is a primate. An ape is a primate. But the monkey is not an ape, and an ape is not a monkey. You could make a little function here which says set opponent or something. Should I set opponent of the things? I guess that would make everything easier. Yeah, we should do that. Let's go to the competitor and then add a competitor reference to the opponent. Like this. And then we can say set opponent as a function. And then we can go and make a function here. Like this. Voila! Would you say it has a diameter larger than 3 centimeter? Now, where's my ruler? I mean, I would say close. Ah, there it is. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. It could be exactly 3 centimeters. It's very close to 3 centimeters, if not a little bigger. It's hard to tell since it's round. I cannot just... measure it. Damn. Then they could still be the same. But I think the one I had was a bit smaller than 3 centimeter diameter. Though it was long ago. The object I have comes in different sizes. It doesn't need to be 3 centimeter diameter, it can be bigger or smaller. Okay, then I don't know. I gave you a hint, man. You cannot just say I don't know after that. So now I don't need the second competitor anymore. I can go with the first competitor and get opponent. But it would be more like get current ARPling competitor and then get opponent. Should this function be in the competitor? Find target. It actually needs to be in the ARPling because the ARPling knows, not the ARPling, the fighting entity knows what kind of status effect it has. So depending on status effect, we also need to like reverse things, right? So instead of having this, we do this, but we have to go with the owning ARPling. Speaking of, this ability needs to be initialized. And by initializing, we can say owning ARPling. Owning, not ARPling, owning fighting entity. And then do this. And then now, do we say set target? Is there a thread in the hole for something like a screw? We already established that. It doesn't have that, no. It's smooth. But I'm not sure if this is a finished product or not. It might have a thread normally. I'm not an expert. So it could have a thread maybe, but this one doesn't have it. I could give you a huge hint, but I think then it's extremely easy to find out. So I will not. Your next guess will be next stream. Fine then. Now the stamp status effects I'm not so sure about, because this can only have a status effect with a round count, but it doesn't have any information about the status effect itself, as in how strong it could be. It could be a light sleep, it could be a heavy sleep. Heavy poison versus low poison. You know? Like a poison that goes only for 1 round but drains you of 90% of your HP versus a poison that goes for 10 rounds but 5% HP. Be right back. Alrighty. Where was I? This. Thank you. Can I just use this? I need to get rid of the names here though. Should severity be a float? Then I could say that a value of 0 from 0 to 1 could be a dice roll. Severity 0.1 means a 10% chance that the status effect kicks in that round. I mean, for confused, that would make sense. What do we do with poison? We could also say that poison can only tick if this severity is being dice rolled. Could even give it a payload to calculate the damage, I guess. Okay, what is for certain the severity here needs to be a float, which means if I change it here, I will change it my old system too, which will break everything. Hey, function. Yes, that's correct. I'm a monkey. A GDD? What's a GDD? A game design document? No, I don't have that. I got a plan, yes. But it's all in my head. I don't plan on collaborating in a large team for this thing. And I also don't plan to pitch this to any publisher. Now, well, I think I'm fine. I don't have it open. So the moment I change this, everything will break and my game will not function anymore unless we go and fix them, of course, but yes, severity is now afloat. Now if I go to play, yeah, they are now broken. Let's check them out. Doesn't matter that much. I mean, we can just do this for now. I mean, I will delete these all anyway, but I guess it would be advisable to fix these. Like that array thing the other day for multiple attacks or something. Do you, but you can... Yeah, whatever. One last thing. All these things will vanish. Right, I think now it should play again. Of course broken, but we should be able to go into a battle without errors. But we will not be able to fight because my input will be broken. But let's see if it's actually starting. Good. I mean, you say design, game design document, that's a way different thing than just making some flowcharts. Like, I do have concepts, but that document is like a way more complicated thing to do than just doing some flowcharts. Yeah, but I can also make a flowchart in one picture and then just save it in one folder. It does make it a game design document. Yeah, great, but what's the argument then? Why call it a game design document when anything can be a game design document? Then let me show you my game design document. There is one part of the game design document. There is the second part of the game design document. And third part, and fourth part, and sixth part. And then a bunch of parts over here. Right here. Some here, some here, some here. And maybe even somewhere else. I'm not sure. So yeah, I have concepts, but I don't have a game design document. I can agree with that. Like if I put that into a shape, that would be that. But it is not, how to say, it does not fully concept every single value. It's more like just concepting the idea and not going fully commit and show the publisher where your idea is going from 0 to end kind of thing. I cannot, how to say, I cannot just paste that all to another person and they would understand 100% where that game is going. My game right now is in a prototype phase where it's living as a document itself, so to speak. We are in the pre-production prototyping phase. As reflected in the version indicator in my package. Some people just do it all from the DOM with nothing pre-planned, and where else in incarnate with his models. That guy is too skilled. I don't know, man. I don't know that person. A good job for him. Is he doing some kind of jam? Usually I don't have time to go to other streams. The only time I watch a stream is when I see someone that I followed because they followed me stream, like Scene, and I go to their stream. I usually don't explore. Oh well. Now, if if my guy is confused and the dice roll said this round you're going to attack your own competitor, it has a single target, so it could hit itself. Physical attack. How would the leaping animation be for that? In Jade Cocoon, it would go to the enemy and hits itself. But in my game, I wanted to be able to target himself or his allies, which means he needs to be able to jump to himself or to its allies. Now, if it's himself, we could make some kind of special case where he doesn't jump and just does the attack animation and hit himself. Right? What? Okay, wait. Let's dissect what you just wrote. Have the attack and move etc. animation be a function when you can just input the model to use. I don't know why you're writing that, because I already have this. So you have to jump, but then the enemy attack function with its model. Yeah, the animation, etc., that's not a problem. That has a system already. What I need is, what is new is the jump itself. I had a jump in my old system which was like this. It looks very bad. I want to change that. My old system was like, okay, we have an Orpling here, here, and here, and ours are here, here, and here. And this guy is it is his turn. He would jump vertically up out of the camera's view, teleport here, land here, do his attack animation, all the calculations, etc. would happen, and then jump back to here. But that's not even the problem right now. In this new system, this guy will leap in front, but like I said, that's not the problem. The problem is if this guy is confused. If you're confused and the round is saying, yeah, the confused didn't happen, it can just leap to the enemy and do it. Whatever, that's the standard thing. If it's confused and the target will be randomly its allies, that's probably also doable, as in he jumps to those over, right? The problem is if the target is himself. Now I would need a special case where the jump doesn't happen. Usually I would have like a phase where I say jump, but now I would need to say if the target is yourself, don't jump, just do the ability already, kind of thing. We also need to keep in mind that this is the pre-calculation, so the jump doesn't matter right now. But if this guy kills an ally, that guy cannot act as the next one. Now, what do we do? The order is 1, 2, 3. The second guy is confused. First guy goes, does his attack. The second one would jump to him and kill him. Now this was the pre-calculation, which means these Orblings will jump in the animation phase at the same time. But that means this guy needs to be able to hit the guy while this guy kills him. So now we have a rather problematic thing. Do I just ditch the possibility that Orblings can hit allies? When an Orbling is confused, can it just attack itself? But then, what do I do with multi-attacks? A multi-attack will always hit everyone. It is a U issue, and I'm not sure how to solve it. Like, I have the pre-calculation phase where nothing happens, where I determine the outcome already. And then there's the animation phase, where we see that things are jumping and damage numbers going up, etc. But this thing would have calculated the outcome already, so you can skip, you can fast forward, etc. But now I also need to handle animations that might be dead. How do I do that? Do I just play the animation while the ally jumps to its slot and does the attack into the air? And the guy does its attack and then memorizes, oh wait, I'm dead, and Looney Tunes dies in its slot. As in, oh, I'm in the air, I just noticed, now I have to fall, kind of thing. That sounds silly. Right? A confused attack stage? The problem is, we already have a... No, maybe you're right. You might be onto something. Does it work? Let's say this guy is not confused, this guy is not confused, this guy is confused and would attack this guy and kill it. Now we are in the pre-calculation happens, whatever. Then we are in the animation stage where 1 and 3 are jumping and doing their attacks. And then we are in the status effects whatever stage where this guy then attacks 1 and kills it. Now in the pre-calculation, if 1 was the confused one, kills the second one, then it would not even be able to do its animation. So it would work. Because then I would like need to scan every time when I do the pre-calculation, is the ARPling that has to do it even available? So this might work actually. Thank you for the hint. I just now need to see if it flows. If I had a pre-calculation, then the actual ability phase or animation phase, whatever we will call it, let's call it animation phase, I wanted to have at the end an MVP phase where if an ability did a lot of damage or killed something, healed something very large, etc., then have that as a last animation, but in extended form, like some cool effects, etc., instead of the fast-paced one. Can I just have this in between here? How do we determine what an MVP is? Can an MVP be a dead ARPling? What? Okay, this might be the solution. Okay, let's say the ARPling that would be chosen for MVP dies because of the status effects. Then the MVP just gets cancelled. Easy, right? Would make sense. But we then need to be like, in the pre-calculation, we do the MVP calculation too. We need to give an ability the MVP status, but we need to be able to revoke it too if the owning ARPling dies. Which would be a little bit sad maybe, because imagine an ARPling sacrificing himself, making a lot of damage, and then a confused ally kills it, and you cannot see the MVP animation anymore. Which would also mean that someone paying attention could understand that, oh no, this guy made a lot of damage in this round, but we didn't see an MVP at this, like he does its thing, and I would expect an MVP, so it needs to die to this confused guy in this next 2 seconds probably. Which is fine, I guess, if you're if you're autistic enough to see that. Well, you don't need to be autistic to see it, but I guess if you play it enough, you will catch some patterns. Can we do this in a more elegant form? Or are we really stuck with another face? Can this be made flowier? If I make it flowier, it will be the Looney Tunes kind of way, where everyone just fights. The confused one does like shadow boxing, while the one that gets killed goes back and then notice, oh wait, I'm dead, and then just vanishes, peace out. That would be the flowy part. which would allow us to have the MVP too, as in the guy does the MVP and then dies afterwards. So we have two ways to do it. Either we add another stage which makes it more what is it called? More consistent visually, or we ignore that and make it faster. How many times will we be confused? Maybe not we, but we might be always confusing the enemy. So we might be able to see this a lot of times. Is that a problem? Does it now all of a sudden make the game slower because we have the ability to confuse the enemy? Because now the enemy has another face in it. Is that a problem? Would I feel bored if I see the enemy do another phase but hit himself? Questions. But yeah, I think I like your idea more. It might be silly, but it is not as silly as the normal way to do this. Considering there is no normal way to do this, but... What if they hit themselves right after being confused and could not take the next turn? Yeah, I was thinking like that too, but isn't that a little boring? I would like to be able to hit allies too. The problem is also you have your ability to hit one, but there are abilities which, like magical multi-hits, like it just hits every ARP-lane. So I cannot just avoid my problem. If your ARP-lane has a multi-hit, I'm not avoiding the problem. The multi-hit might kill someone in the team. Thanks to the pre-calculation, we would know if a ARP-link dies before it can do its ability, which means this guy can kill someone in its own stage, while the guy being killed in the future would just patiently wait on its slot and then get slaughtered by the confused ARP-link without doing its turn, because we pre-calculated the outcome. So that's good, I guess. It would handle everything. And I'm really not a fan about the Looney Tunes. The Looney Tunes solution. Okay. Imagine another thing. Let's just make another think process. What is it called? just another theoretical thing. What if the enemy has an ability that makes a firewall, so any ARPling that passes it gets damaged? Does the damage happen before or after the attack? Because if it's before, it would need to leap and then die. Which means I need to be prepared to cancel attacks, etc. Or does it do the attack and then in returning dies? It's also possible. It just... how we design that ability, I guess. And I guess it's also fine for pre-calculations, etc. Is it easy for pre-calculation? No, it isn't. We would need to flag our ARPlings to do their thing and then die afterwards, kind of thing. This is more complicated. Do attack, get damaged, and die. The same system, the confused one, probably it wouldn't. No, it's fine. We can have this special case. It makes it more correct. Even if we don't use that as special case, we need another special case, so it's fine. So we have the confused special case, we have the firewall special case, we probably also have the firewall special case as in poisoned special case, where our thing has poison that gets applied every time it attacks or acts. Or maybe the poison happens every round end, which means someone in the back row can die. Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's working like poison, because either the fire damage gets applied while you jump or leap over it, or while the attack happens. And the poison will probably happen at the end of the round. Or we could also make the fire getting applied on the ARPling that passes it, but the damage gets resolved in the resolve phase like the poison. Could also be happening. But I'm not sure if we should do it like that. It would be funny though. The guys at the enemy side could still pummel on us, and then the fire would get applied and then just burn or something. In that regard, maybe I have a status effect that's called burning, which is almost the same as the poisonous thing, but why? I guess the firewall stuff isn't a big problem. It is rather manageable. We just need to think about what is the coolest way to apply it. If we even have a firewall, that is. Can we think about anything else that might be special about order of orplings while they are doing something? And it needs to be always applied to one side, because we don't consider both sides fighting at the same time. Only one side attacks and then the next one, so the problem is a little simpler. If we are stunned, we just don't act. If we are sleeping, we just don't act. Poison we already had. Confusion, sleep. What else? Can we have any ability that's doing something very strange? Probably not. I think the only problematic one would be either the confusion or the firewall that's happening while we're attacking. I cannot imagine anything else getting in our way of our system here. For the firewall, we would need to mark that the guy is dead, okay, but he died because he did its ability, which means he needs to do its ability. You cannot just check, hey, is the orpling dead? Yes, then don't do the animation. That's not good. We might just check, hey, orpling, are you dead? Yes. Did you die because of something in that round? Yes. Then do your ability and die afterwards, kind of thing. We could also just check the current status versus the future status and then determine, okay, you need to do your ability, I guess. Or, of course, we just apply a burning effect and do it in the end of the face, which would also work. Which would maybe have some implications? Is that the word? No. Yes, implications as to when does healing happen. Oh my god, when does healing happen? The healing happens when the orpling is casting the healing. So if this guy dies while it's doing the attack, then the healing will not affect it. In the other way, if we have a resurrect ability, then we cannot resurrect an orpling that got burned and will die with the burning effect. But we can resurrect it in the next round. Really, depending on how I design this thing, there are slight strategical implications to this, but not so much for the programming part. Okay, so I guess it's decided. We need a status effect stage, which is like, we could rename it to confused stage, which means anything that needs to animate in our phase, which does their thing, oh. God damn it, man. I have one more problem now. I have one more problem in the regards of the confusion stage. Look at this. We have 3 ARPlings. 1, 2, and 3 as in order. And how do I do this? The second one is confused, okay? Third one has healing. First one attacks, comes back. While the third one does a healing. The thing is, because this thing is the second one in the rounds, he wants to attack this guy and kills it because he is low on HP, like has 1 HP but could have 100 HP. Now in the animation mode, this guy waits for its round and this guy does its healing effect. So normally you would think, oh, my ARPling in the front got healed for 30. And now this guy attacks and kills it because it thinks it was 1 HP. So do I now change the logic of my game as in confused ones do not act in the same round and have their own pre-calculation? Like I am now breaking the pre-calculation because normally everything would happen at the same time, as in they have their order 1, 2, 3. 1 attacks, 2 kills this guy, 3 tries to heal everyone. Do I just accept and say anything that is confused has a second round? A true second round and not a played second round. Fuck! I guess it's fine, a good, how to say, a compromise that works. Anything that is confused need to omit their round and then start their round after the normal ARPlings did their thing, kind of thing, maybe, right? Okay, that would work. Now another problem. One is fine, second one is confused, third one can heal confusion. Status effect clear. What do we do now? If we say this guy omits its round and this guy heals it, does he just omit its round? Is that how this should work now? First one attacks, second one would attack, but now we set in here, okay, it gets its own rounds, right? Like, we have pre-calculation, we have the animation, and then we have a true confused thing that disregards the pre-calculation. So animation one would be this guy attacking, second one omitting because he's in the confusion one. And now the third one heals him, which means he's not in the confusion anymore. But its round is also the second one and not the third, which means he cannot do its thing anymore. If this was the first one and this one the third, he healed the second one, does he now have the ability to do its thing? Holy shit, man. Is this how this now works? Just if the healing happens before the round would be on him, then he can do his thing. But if we heal him afterwards, he omits his turn. Is this confusing for the player? Should I do like a, what is it called? A special case for this? Not enough arrows? Hey, hello, Link. Hello. Hello, hello. There are more arrows here, look. Arrows all the way. Do you want no more? Wait, here. Do you want to know what I'm doing here? Shall I info dump you with all of this? Can you survive this? I mean, you might be, how to say? You can be my lab rat right now. Do you play RPGs? Turn-based RPGs? I can tell you a simple thing and you have to tell me if it feels natural or if you would be confused as a player. Is anyone still here? Hello? Should I just think for myself? Funny thing is, I might be able to, as a player, program my side to attack my own unit if it can scan for confused. Because if you hit someone that is confused, they can get healed. The problem is it's not instant. It's not instant. It clears afterwards. Healing does it instant, but confused on a hit happens afterwards, like sleep. So you can triple crit a sleeping one. My god. So this is the only problem we have right now. If I heal the confused one, is it problematic to see the healed one omit its turn if the healing was last? Is it a big problem? I don't feel like it is, but if I don't solve this now, or as in find a solution to this and later find out that I don't like it, I cannot solve it anymore. It needs to be solved now. But I feel like it's not solvable in a good way. If we did everything at the same time, we wouldn't have this problem, as everything would just go on its own round. I guess in the case of confusion, from logical perspective, confused Orpling sets itself, okay, I'm confused. I need to be in the confused phase. To do my attack. And then just puts himself in that queue. Then the healing happens. The healing check would then look at the pool and say remove yourself from the pool. Which means that this guy was never in the acting pool, or it was in the acting pool and just chose, okay, I'm confused. I'm moving myself out. And then the healing happens and it practically omitted its round. Which is fine, I guess. If you're smart enough, the healing needs to happen beforehand. You can switch your rounds in that way anyway. Funny part is, confusion will probably not be a big problem in the water side, because they are rather resistant to status effects. So this little problem we have here will probably not happen as much as one would think. Because you can only heal in the water side, probably. In an instant, that is. So, okay. This problem is also solved. As in, I accepted how it acts out. So, how do we do this then? Check for valid target and set. Which means if we are confused, we now have to set ourselves somewhere else. Target found would be still true, probably, for that. Do we still need this? We probably do not abort. This doesn't make sense here anymore with the abort. We don't stop. Because we probably still have some Orplings that could heal. This is a false assumption. We don't need that. We don't need this target found. We need to go through everyone anyway. Okay, so we find confused. Do we set the ability itself into the queue, or do we set the owning Orpling into the queue? And then we have to think about this part instead. Because, okay, we have the queue from this. We might now need a separate array here that adds the confused ones. But how do we get them out again? Can I just say, I healed you, remove this person from the queue, which means the ability would need to get a reference back. I don't know, man. How can I implement this in a clean way? Yeah. I mean, I can say find. The problem is now I have a reference back, which I want to avoid. Yeah. We need a way to set ourselves in a new queue, new pool, and remove ourselves from that pool. But in an elegant way, how? Okay, one way would be we have like something here that says, okay, put me in the confused pool. We can just grab it and put it there then, whatever. And when we are executing the confused pool, we can check if we're still confused. If yes, do the thing. If no, just omit, right? Something like that. Hmm. Now, do we just say output into confused? Is this the way? Is there a better way? Because this return thing would be only for that. But maybe that's fine. Check for valid targets, confusion, and set kind of way. And then this could be a true or false. If true, then take whatever is in here and put them into the confusion part. Maybe we could do... Hold on, what if we separate this? Alright, I think my brain is fried. Let's... let's wrap this up. So we have the check for confusion, which will now lead into confusion pool. Then the ability for this round needs to happen, which means this will be probably its own function. The ability gets initialized and then it checks for valid targets, so meaning The confusion part is not important anymore because we are not looking at the confusion. But okay, if you are confused, is there always a valid target for you? Because if you're not confused, you might have an attack, but the enemy row might be eliminated to actually be able to attack. But if you are confused and you have an attack, there is always yourself to attack. Unless, of course, the confusion didn't happen. Hold on. This is not completely correct. We need to check the severity. So, okay, which means the confusion only happens if the severity random roll goes through, or else it will do the attack normally. It will end up in the normal part. Okay, this is what we want. Okay, so that's fine. Initialize check for valid target. This is not needed anymore. Single target would be owning. Competitor gets opponent competitor. And now we would need to determine the tactics. Ability instance. Hold on, no, not even. This needs to happen in front of here. Because the ability might be even... Oh. What do you think about Unreal's plan to replace blueprints with their programming language verse? I don't know, is it different? I looked at verse and it looks like a combination of the worst parts of Python and C++, resulting in the worst programming language syntax I've ever seen. Why would they change? Do you think they will kick blueprints? Really? There must be a reason for it. Now, do I tomorrow think about tactics? How to implement them? Yeah, I also don't think if you are like in the blueprints ecosystem, why would you change to verse? Now, if it compiles better, I would understand, but if there is no big, how to say, yeah, I guess. I don't think they can go through it with it. You know what I think? Why they are doing verse? I think that's because they try to combine it with their AI system. You think it's because Fortnite? If it's only Fortnite, they would have stayed with blueprints. I think they can just not translate blueprints into AI. That's why they're going to language. And if that's true, then Epic Games, if you truly go that way, you are fucking morons. Just going for the money. Like sinking so much money just to add AI, well, have fun with your casino, I guess. The suits will love it. But that would also mean that they will not ditch blueprints, right? If they ditch blueprints, I will stay with Unreal 5, I guess. Can I concept this tactics? Did I save the tactics idea? I don't remember. Design. Battle AI rework. Could be this. Battle entity brain dump. Let's look at this. Yeah, I guess it was like that. What is this? Target, condition 1, condition 2, ability. Of course it has AI. Because AI is the future, right? Morons. Well, we will see. AI will probably get in a stage where it can do very, very confusing stuff. I just hope they don't add this AI stuff for content creation. But they will, right? They will do that. Like programming? Okay, be my guest. Some noobs will use it and then they will not be able to parse their own code anymore, and then hope for the AI to fix everything, but that's fine. That can be solvable or something. But if we go to content creation, well, that's where I think we are losing art. Like, fine, don't see code as AI, code as art. That's fine. That was always the case. Everyone stole from everyone, whatever. There's no argument to win here. But for content creation, 3D, animations, 2D, whatever, concepting, if that goes to AI, then there's no more hope. Yeah, I agree. Whatever. Okay, so I think next time I have to come up with a concrete concept thing or not concepting as in implementation of this, and then see where this goes. Like right now, the ability choosing part and targeting needs to be the tactics part. This is wrong here. Alright, I'm done here. So, who's still here? I'm not sure. I guess Phil, you're still here. I see fifth function here, but they didn't write anymore, so whatever. Anyway, you both, thanks for tuning in. All the lurkers, thank you. Everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. And I will see you guys next time. Bye bye, monkey.